Manchester United has been linked with a lot of strikers this summer. A lot of strikers. Some of the names are even very, very funny. When we started, we saw the likes of, Gyökeres or Osimhen. Those were the names that were popping, and we're like, oh yeah, these are good names. But now it looks as if the more is looking at Gyökeres is not going to be possible because of his move to Arsenal. Or Osimhen strange decision to stay and complete his deal to Galatasaray. And now you are seeing funny names come up. You are seeing the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You are seeing Jamie Vardy come up. Now we have also seen that people are saying, even though I don't believe it's true, I just believe it's the agent trying to do a thing. We are seeing the likes of Nicolas Jackson pop up for Man United. And I feel in as much as I understand the fact that Man United should sign a striker this summer, I feel the goal should not be to just sign a striker. The goal should be to sign the right kind of striker, the right profile of striker. You might disagree about whether they were good signings or not, because I think it's clear also that maybe one was not a good signing so far. But you can look at it that Man United has signed strikers in the past few years. At least we have the likes of Zexi, we have the likes of Hojlund. So the issue is not going out there to at least spend money, no matter how little, to get a striker. The issue is getting the right kind of striker. And I feel as the many names are coming, starting from the profile of the likes of Gyökeres or Osimhen, you are hearing the likes of Ugo Ekitike. Some people even say maybe Isiak in some part. You are hearing the likes of the veterans of the likes of Jamie Vardy. You are hearing the underperforming players like the likes of Nicolas Jackson. You are hearing the likes of injury prone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What exactly should Man United be looking for in the number 9? And when we understand what we should be looking for, then we'll be able to know which striker is available, and which striker should we go for. So I think first point, if you stick with me, I want to show us 5 key traits that the new number 9 of Manchester United must have. The first one is the number 9 of Man United must have physicality in his game. I've said it many times here. The number 9 of Manchester United, the next number 9, must be practically a bully. This number 9 must be someone that when he plays, after the half time or the full time, the defenders must have a feel in their body that they actually played against a beast. So it's not just about having fancy strikers like Ekitike, like even Isiak. It's good. But looking at the way we want to play, the manager wants to play, and our deficiencies in our game, many times we'll be opting for the second option of attack. The first option is to build up from the back. The second option is to play it long. So we need someone that is physical enough to do the job. And that's why you could see we have the deficiencies in the likes of Hojlund's game, because Hojlund cannot provide that amount of physicality. You are playing the Premier League that has the toughest defenders anywhere in the world, the fastest defenders anywhere in the world. You want to have a beast that can actually be like an anchor, a target man that can bring in the likes of Cunha and potentially Mbeumo into play. I know Zexi can do that, but Zexi can only do that when the ball is on the ground. But you want someone that right from the goalkeeper down to the striker, we can bypass a lot of phases of play and create a very good attack. Because when you watch the likes of Cunha and potentially Mbeumo, you understand that these guys, their criteria, their qualities are not necessarily far wings. They have the ability to play as inside forwards. And I feel that's why I see the sense in going for those two players. But it's not just going to be about them alone. We need someone that can drag the defense out of line and win the ball and then link up. So the second one is not just physicality alone, but must have a very good link up play. It's someone that must be able to drag defenders out of position, create a vacuum behind the defensive line where the likes of Cunha, Mbeumo, Ahmad, Bruno, Mason Mount can operate inside that hole. So the second one is link up. Someone who is very good in link up, and someone who on a very good day can meet the toughest defender in the Premier League, win the ball and link it up to the other forwards. The third is someone who can play within the channels. One thing Manchester United has not had in recent years is that our attack has not been flexible. Our players, the likes of Rashford, Garnacho, they have a specific place they want to play. if this is my position. In the sense, I get the idea of having a fixed position, but I feel in modern football today, one of the things you should have as a team is flexibility in attack. Where, yes, I could start on the left wing, and another player could start at the right wing, but maybe as the time is going on, I could just, drift into the right, the other person comes in and even confuse the defensive line a bit. I remember those times during Sir Alex Ferguson, we had a lot of switch of positions, and it really did, amazing things. But to be fixed in your position will not allow you to test different ways of attacking. And so I believe the striker we want to get in, or we should get in, is one that has the ability to play within the channels. So if, for example, you collect the ball from the midfielders, or you take it from deep, and then your wingers are making the move forward, the likes of Cunha could even decide to move in centrally, and the striker was able to play within the channels. Let's have that variability, that flexibility in attack, and to even confuse defenders, to confuse them and to get a goal. So I believe the third point that the new Man United striker must have is the ability to play within the channels and to play to it and to stretch out defenders while playing, or the defensive line while playing within the channels is very, very important. The fourth one is, I believe, funny enough, I believe that, and that's why I have not been a supporter of the kind of strikers we are seeing. I believe the new striker for Man United must be able to finish with both feet. Because I believe the best strikers are strikers. Yeah, you could disagree, but because we've had some amazing strikers that were just one-footed. But I believe, in my opinion, I like strikers that are both-footed. I like strikers that can score with any leg. And I see sometimes that's one of the reasons why, particularly, I like the likes of Mason Greenwood as a player. And you guys also will agree. I like players, for me, it's easier when you can score with both feet. I know definitely you have a predominant feet, a feet that is stronger than the other, but because sometimes you wouldn't have the time to put it to your stronger foot. I remember a lot of games we played last season and even past season with Rasmus Hojlund, where Rasmus Hojlund would have scored the goal, but that 1 minute, 1 second decision to put it to his stronger foot made him to lose it. Sometimes you will get chances in your uncomfortable foot, and you must be able to bury it, because this is Manchester United. And sometimes you only have that one clear chance in the game, and you must bury it. Then lastly, the fifth point I believe we have to look at before we sign any striker for Man United is that we have to be realistic. Man United is not going to the Champions League. There's no European football. And we have to be realistic to understand that. That's why I've said it from earlier. I wasn't really a fan of when I had Man United were interested in Gyökeres. Not just because I'm not really a big fan of Gyökeres like that. Yeah, he's a good player. But this is just my own personal opinion, my own personal vibe towards him. I feel he's a good player, and I'm happy that he's on the move to Arsenal. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying, me personally, I don't have that connection with him. And it happens, a player might be very, very good, but you might not just have the connection with him. And I was always of the opinion that either I get Osimhen or I get the player which I will mention at the end of the video, who I feel has these qualities. And I always feel that Gyökeres will not be realistic because he clearly wants to play Champions League football. Man United clearly doesn't have any European football. And looking at the position we finished last season, it's also looking very gloom. We can't even promise that we will finish in the top 4, to give him, maybe after this 1 year, to give him the Champions League football. So I feel wherever we want to go to, we must be realistic. We must go for players that are willing to play for us at our level. I know before many seasons, you can say Man United has that big name, but the reality is, especially after last season, I wouldn't blame any player if they say they don't want to come to Man United, looking at what is going on inside the club, on the pitch, with the owners and everything. So we have to go for players that want to play for us in our current states. And I believe we have to be realistic with that. So I've mentioned 5 points, guys, and then I'll review the player I believe has these 5 qualities, why I believe this player will be the most realistic, the most effective, the most ambitious signing, considering every other thing that is going on with Manchester United. The first point I mentioned is that the striker must have the physicality. must be very, very physical, must be able to have a very good game against even the most powerful striker in the Premier League. Secondly, I said must have very, very good link-up play. Very link-up play because we have the likes of Cunha and potentially Mbeumo, who are inside forwards, who have the ability, to play inside and to cause damage to the opposition. So you want the striker to be able to link up play and create, to come out, link up, to win the ball, link up play, and make sure that those forward, Cunha, Mbeumo, Ahmad, Bruno, Mason Mount, operate within the hole behind the defensive line. And thirdly, I mentioned the fact that the channels is very, very important. That this striker must be able to operate well within the channels and to help, us have that flexibility in attack, which we've not necessarily had over the time. Many of our strikers in recent time are not comfortable in the wings. They're not comfortable within the channels. When they even carry the ball a little bit, they are like, oh, come on. They need support. So we want someone that can at least push it to the end and stretch defensive lines to make a lot of variability and a lot of things happen. And I said, the fourth thing is that we need someone that can finish with both feet. It's very, very important. For me, this is my own personal view that I believe that the Premier League, you always want strikers that can finish with both feet. And that's why I like the likes of the way Mbeumo uses his left and also has a very good use of his right. I like the way Cunha uses his both feet, considerably well. I like the way Bruno does that. I like the way Mason Mount does that. So I want to see those players. I think the way we want to have players that can use both feet and not just one foot players, because especially in striker position, because a small chance you have to bury it with whatever foot. And lastly, I said we must choose a striker based on our current situation. We must be realistic enough to understand that some players will not just join Man United this summer, because not just because we're not playing in Europe, but because the future is really, really, very, very bleak. It's very bleak. We can't promise that we'll be in the top 4 next season. It's not something that you can say we are out this year, but we'll be back next year. We can't really promise. We don't know where we're going to finish. So I believe having looked at these 5 important points, I believe that the striker Man United should be going for, and in my opinion, I've had this view right from even the end of last season. I believe the striker should be Mateta. I feel Mateta physicality is amazing. Mateta is very good in link-on play. Mateta surprisingly operates well in the channels. For someone of that physique, that height. For me, I'm always like, I'm always in awe, surprised looking at him operating that way. And Mateta uses both feet. And I love what I see. And lastly, as I said, Mateta is actually the realistic, So I would have said the beginning of the season, to even our guys on set here, that we have to either go for Victor Osimhen. If you don't get Victor Osimhen, go for Mateta. And guys, this is my opinion on the qualities Manchester United striker needs and the person that is available in the market that is realistic to get, that fulfill these qualities. Guys, let me have your opinion on what you think about this video. I know some of you are already raging, why Mateta? But some of you understand why we have arrived at Mateta and why I believe Manchester United should place the bid for Joan Mateta. So guys, drop your comments about this video in the comment section and show us love by clicking the like button. And please don't forget to share this video to your loved ones, your friends, your fellow fans. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to keep hearing from us. Until I see you next time. Bye.